right now we have Miss Katrina Callsen. She is no stranger here. Katrina, thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, you know it. Thanks for taking the time and using this platform and listen to talk to our listening audience, I should say. So for those who may have missed you the first time, just give them the quick rundown, the quick background of why you and who you are.
Okay, so I'm a mother. I'm a former teacher. I only say former because I took time off for my boys. Mm-hmm. I've always been passionate about education because both of my parents dropped out of high school. I grew up very low income, and they made sure to stress to me the importance of getting a good education so that I had a better future than they had, and I took that to heart. I ended up going to Yale. Mm-hmm. I joined Teach for America, went to UVA Law where I focused on child advocacy, mm-hmm. and I'm really excited about giving back to my community. I've been working really hard.
Nice. And so the Rio School District.
That is right. I'm running for the Albemarle County School Board, Rio District.
The Rio District.
It's all up along. You have to explain it to people because nobody really knows what district
please. Because you saw I was a little confounded when I even said that.
Yeah.
Rio. So tell us, please, where are you when you're campaigning? Tell us.
Yeah, you're going to see where my interests lie because I'd have it all by shopping centers. So it's from Stonefield. It's basically along 29 from Stonefield up to around where the airport is. And then it's Rio kind of circling that area. From Penn Park, where I go all the time, then cutting down towards Stonefield.
Okay, all right. So you're here. We're about a week away, November 7th.
Oh my gosh!
And want to make sure that people know KatrinaCallsen.com is the website to learn more. But I noticed on your website you have a tab that says "Why I'm the Right Call." And I noticed that it's an acronym, CALL, why I'm the right call. So break that down to us. Tell us what that acronym means and why you're the right call.
You're about to have to make me get my phone out and look at my website.
No cheating.
What did they write again?
I came up with that acronym because when I first before I decided to run, I really wanted to do my due diligence, and I met with a bunch of community members, and I met with current school board members, and they said, people don't pay attention to local politics. You need to just have a memorable name. So I was like, I got to come up with an acronym. Callsen, call. Okay. But no, a lot of it applies. It's, correct me if I'm wrong here, but community focused. I've invested a lot. I was a cost volunteer. I've invested a lot in our community. My dad's family's out of Scottsville, and just a lot of involvement. Access and achievement, that's the big thing that's important to me, making sure that our schools are equitable. All of our students, regardless of their backgrounds, are coming out with great outcomes. Mm-hmm. Listening, which I have put a lot of time in. I've knocked on thousands of doors, made sure that I'm talking to people. And then that second L was where I had to stay up a few nights saying, how do I get another L to fit into call? Mm-hmm. And I went back from a few different things. What did I land on?
Long-term solutions.
Yes, and it was between that and learning, being focused in on learning. The long-term solutions are because we have in our urban ring, as I'm sure many of your listeners are aware, a lot of redistricting issues and issues with overcrowding. So my neighborhood has been up for redistricting 3 times in the past 5 years. It's actually up for redistricting right now. And my cousin, who grew up off of hydraulic, she wrote me and said that her neighborhood was up for redistricting 3 times while she was in elementary school, and all 3 times she was redistricted. So she had to switch schools 3 times, and that right there, I know I'm just going off on a tangent now.
No, you're good. You're good.
But that right there is part of the problem we have with having redistricting come up so frequently. So my neighborhood has the one I live in right now has a really strong advocacy network. And although we've been up for redistricting 3 times, we have never been redistricted.
So what's the problem? Why are you coming up so often? Why are they knocking it down?
The problem, I think, is that there's a few different issues. One of the reasons is that Agner-Hurt, which is where my kids are districted to go, is not really a community school. It's not in a neighborhood. We bus kids in, and so it seems like an easy target to just say we can move, we're busing them there anyway. They're not living around the school, so where else can we send them? And the other thing is just really not looking, we haven't in the past looked far enough in the future, and so we're always at capacity. And that's what dictates it. So Agner-Hurt was predicted to be over capacity, and then the numbers came in this year and they were actually a little under capacity, and so now they're saying maybe take Agner-Hurt off and we'll move Greer to Woodbrook. All of this is not being decided. It's the redistricting committee is just looking through all the options. So it's to be decided what's going to happen. But yeah,
and so that C community. It's a pretty diverse community up there. For those who may not know, for your district. For the school systems. So when you look at things that then go into to that access and that achievement gap, because being such a diverse community, it's kind of hard to teach to everyone's strengths. So when you look at the school board's approach currently right now, what's some of your thoughts there as far as ways to close that achievement gap?
What I want to see happening is I want to make sure the bottom line is it comes down to the bottom line. We have limited funds. I want to make sure that when we're spending money, it is focused on initiatives and tactics that have been shown to improve achievement gaps. So 2 things I can think of right off the top of my head are culturally responsive teaching. It's a pedagogy that encourages teachers to take student-centered approaches, and it's been shown to help all students. So I think we should be making sure all of our teachers have the time and training to learn that method. Restorative justice, that's another thing I would love to see. We have a gap in how we discipline our kids. It tends to be broken along income lines and racial lines. I would love to see us embracing a discipline structure that's less, I'm at a lack of word here, but encourages conflict resolution between our students as opposed to moving, less authoritarian, that's the word I was looking for, instead of moving them up the discipline structure. So yeah, we fund a lot of initiatives. We do a lot of things. Some of them work, some of them don't. And I just don't think we are at the place where we need to be cutting edge, like testing out things with our students. Maybe it works. We don't have that amount of money.
Okay. All right, and so what we're gonna have to do right now is take a quick break, and we're gonna be right back with Katrina Callsen. Remember, hit us up 422-9101 with any of your questions or comments. IMHO 101 Jams on that social media and online. And Katrina, sounds good. Can you stay with us to the next hour?
I can.
All right. So get those notes ready. We're gonna come back. And
my gosh.
All right.
Okay. I'm ready.
IMHO. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 101 Jams.
Greetings. My name is Nakaya Walker. I'm a candidate for Charlottesville City Council. Between now and November 7th, I ask that you research and connect with my campaign at votenakayaforcouncil.com and on Facebook at Nakaya Walker for City Council. I invite you to partner with me as we work to eliminate the major disparities that we have in the city. Disparities in health, wealth, education, and mass incarceration. Together, we can heal Charlottesville and create a future where all families can thrive. On November 7th, I look forward to seeing you at the polls. The website is votenakayaforcouncil.com. I'm Nakaya Walker, supporting this station.
Paid for by Nakaya Walker for Council. If you've been thinking about purchasing a hybrid automobile, you might have been thinking about, Now, it might be time for a rethink. New for 18 is the Hyundai Ioniq. Available as a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, or as an all-electric. The Ioniq features a combined city highway mileage rating of 58. The all-electric has a range of 124 miles, and both come with state-of-the-art connectivity and a comprehensive suite of safety features. While rethinking, you can read a product review at autoworld.com. Price Hyundai supports this station and invites you in for a test drive today. That's Price Hyundai at JimPriceAuto.com and on 29 North, Charlottesville.
From the Mountain Dew Studios in Charlottesville, these classics and today's hip-hop and R&B trons are powered by Air Mix Virginia.
Let's get it.
Get lit to this as 101 Jams, WVAI, Charlottesville.
I'm here with Jesse Klink, the campus director at American National University here in Charlottesville. Can you tell me a bit more about your medical career programs?
Sure. We offer medical assisting, phlebotomy, ECG, and coding and billing. We have a hands-on approach with our qualified instructors teaching front and back office skills in our medical lab.
Some of your students have long work hours or family commitments, don't they?
Absolutely. We understand you're juggling a lot. We offer online learning environments, small day and night classes, and I work very closely with our career services department to give our students skills they need to enter their careers.
Winter term application deadline is November 17th on campus and online. You can reach American National University in Charlottesville at 434-220-7962, or you can visit an.edu for more information.
Support for 101 Jams today is coming from Price Hyundai. You can't choose life's adventures, but you can choose how you get to and from them. Price suggests the new for 18 Hyundai Elantra GT Sport, a hatchback that has your back with a 201 horsepower 1.6-liter turbo and choice of 7-speed dual-clutch automatic or 6-speed manual transmission. The Elantra GT Sport adds available automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist, and collision avoidance to the safety features you've come to expect from Hyundai. Also available, a 7-speaker Infinity audio system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. And new for 18, 3 years of Blue Link notification included. The 18 Elantra GT Sport can be seen now at Price Hyundai on 29 North and all the time at JimPriceHyundai.com.
Hi, I'm Damian Weaver from Anytime Fitness Pantops here in Charlottesville. If you're looking to get in shape or stay in shape, we got 2 locations in Charlottesville with plenty of cardio and resistance machines, plus free weights and functional equipment. We have group training classes, including yoga, and we're open 24/7 so you can work out on your own schedule. You can stop by the Pantops location for a 7-day pass. Anytime Fitness supports this station, and I invite you to call me personally at 971-5566 to let me show you why Anytime Fitness should be your gym. More is at anytimefitness.com/Charlottesville.
Friday, November 10th, Air Mix Virginia Incorporated and Almighty Entertainment presents the official 101 Jam second annual birthday bash at the Annie Room. That's right, we turning up for CVA's finest. DJ Smirnoff, DJ Flatline, DJ Infamous, and to take it up a notch, this event is hosted by V8O and Radio Bug of the Chris Newman Show, and a special guest appearance from the 100 Proof Band. This is a 21 and over event. Friday, November 10th at the Annie Room.
101 Jams is a non-profit community radio station. It is our mission to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with local and national news and events while providing you the best of classic and new hip-hop and R&B. The views expressed on 101 Jams belong to those expressing them and do not reflect the views or beliefs of 101 Jams, the board of directors, or its parent company, Air Mix Virginia. To find out more about how 101 Jams serves your community, visit our website, 101jamz.com, or facebook.com/101 Jams.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO 101 Jams. We are back with Rio District candidate for the Albemarle County School Board, Katrina Callsen. And Katrina, I believe Aaron has a question for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Katrina and I were just talking, giggling, having a good conversation. And one of the terms she mentioned earlier was culturally responsible teaching. And I find that interesting because so many times we like to talk about achievement gaps, the children aren't performing or whatever, the things that are going on in the home, but rarely do we actually ever have not only a candidate, but also an educator that talks about the responsibility of the teachers and some of those attitudes that those teachers might have toward those students and how it affects their ability. So I wanted her to talk a little bit about that term that you used and why it's so important for us to focus on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. The culturally responsive teaching is important because no matter who you are, we all bring biases with us. It's just a fact of life. I knew it when I was a teacher. I taught primarily immigrants, or children of immigrants, and I'm not an immigrant, so I had to deal,
right.
Come figure out how to relate to them and the issues that they were dealing with that I didn't have necessarily a grasp on. And it has been shown that when teachers can take that time to relate and figure out what's going on with their students in their lives, or just what they're dealing with, or even just where their interests may lie, their achievement can really go up. And the most important thing is you can start having really great expectations for your students and high expectations, and realizing that every student, no matter their background, no matter where they're coming from, no matter their income level, no matter how involved their parents are, every child can do great things. And it's our job to make sure that we're getting the most out of them. And I think that's really important.
Ms. Callsen.
Yeah.
How you doing? I got a question for you. When you said that there was I got kind of confused there for a second, but when you said that there's a limited income, were you referring to the households or were you referring to the money that's given to the schools?
I'm referring to households. So the kids, they define it by free and reduced lunch. So they look at what percentage of kids are coming in on free and reduced lunch.
Do y'all ever focus on, when you look at kids that get like free and reduced lunch, do y'all ever focus that on how well that child does on like the SOLs, like put a direct focus on that and see what that number is?
Yeah, they do, and it's not pretty. We have one of the top 10% disparities. But I do want to call attention because I'm not a big fan of the SOLs. I think that we should have really high expectations. So in that part, I agree. But I don't think SOLs are necessarily the best measure. I'm going to say my brother had a reading disability when he still has a reading disability. And every single test he did horrible on because if you can't read, you don't do well on any of the subjects, really. And so school for him, starting in 3rd grade, was just reinforcing that he wasn't smart enough. And he was a problem to all of his teachers. When they saw him, he was the kid that they needed to, that was going to be a pain in their butt.
Do you have a plan to attack that since you're directed to it like personally?
What I would love to see, so we're going to have some flexibility hopefully coming up because we're getting the state is getting some, with every student succeeds, we're getting some flexibility in how we do our testing. So I'm really hoping that the state will decrease some of the emphasis on SOLs. Now, the only reason I wouldn't just flat out say, like, let's get rid of the SOLs is because my fear is that it would also allow us to let students who are struggling fall behind more. So I think there needs to be some form of assessment. I just don't necessarily think that the SOL is the best because I think it can reinforce stereotypes. And when we're just focused on how they're doing on a test.
All right, I have a quick question for you. Going back to redistricting, I don't think you gave your personal opinion on that. But I guess my question is, if the schools are already over capacity, I don't know what the parent-teacher ratio is. I'm sorry, the teacher-student ratio is. But if it's already over capacity, and one of your efforts is closing the achievement gap, how attainable is that? If you're already working with with a classroom full of kids that can't get the individualized attention that they need in order to learn the minimum, much less having them operate on the same level as all the other students.
One thing that I would like to see happen is that when we consider redistricting, we make sure that our students and our schools are more equally divided. So right now we have schools that have almost 80% free and reduced lunch students, and we have schools that have 7%. That's a big disparity, and it does take a lot more resources to deal with students that are struggling. Now, see, the only reason I hesitate to talk, I'll be honest, the only reason I hesitate to talk about this is I hate talking about people in generalizations. So, like, low-income students aren't... I hate to say that they need more resources because, I mean, I was a low-income student. There are low-income students that are brilliant. Now I'm calling myself brilliant. I'm just, like, digging myself a hole.
No, you're good because there's plenty of low-income students just like you. So, you are speaking to those too.
Yeah, I just don't like. When I knock on doors, I hear a lot of great things, but I also hear a lot of excuses being made, like, oh, their parents don't care. There's nothing you can do, and I just hate to make generalizations. So, unfortunately, in general, low-income students do require more services, and it's unfair to place all those burdens on the same schools.
I have a question for you.
But hold on, I don't know if I got the answer. So, are you in favor of it or do you oppose it? And if we leave the districting as it is, can you really make a significant difference in the achievement gap being over capacity?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't. And tell me if I don't get it right this time. I in favor of when we redistrict, which we have to do right now because Greer is overcrowded. I just want to make sure when we do it, we're looking at how our students are divided on socioeconomic lines. So I don't want it to just be some of the factors that go in. I don't want it to be, let's take all our affluent neighborhoods and put them in the school and make like a suburban school and then leave the ones in and make an urban school. So yes, if...
But that's what's happening, right? That's by design. Because if you got 80% on free and reduced and 7% on... That didn't happen by accident.
Yeah, and some of it... I was just talking to a great guy yesterday at his door who was saying a lot of it's development too. So like when they were developing all up 29 and they were deciding schools, I mean, developers play into that as well, and where we're building houses and where affordable housing lies.
Yeah. So to be fair to our listeners, when you say like you really don't want to like get into something or really don't, want to say or, like point fingers at something, it makes it hard for the people that's listening right now to understand where exactly you are.
Oh yeah, I hope that's not. Yeah, I'm.
So when you say no, I'm just telling you. When you say that, it makes it hard for them to understand exactly where you're coming from.
Well, that's a problem. So let me fix it. I want to make sure that low-income students are given the best opportunities they have, and I want to give them a voice and advocate on their behalf. And so districting, I want to make sure it's so complex when you think about it, because with districting, what I don't want to say is we need to move all our low-income students to different schools, because I don't want to shuffle them around like they're cards, which is what's been happening in the past. And so when I'm going to these redistricting meetings for my neighborhood, and my neighborhood is saying, well, we don't need to move, and in this case, I actually think they're right, because I live in a more affluent neighborhood. So if we move, we're going to make Woodbrook into an even more affluent school, and Greer and Agner Herd are going to be more concentrated low-income students. But on the same token, I don't think it's cool to just talk about moving students, these low-income students around. I don't think they're cards that you can just say, okay, put some over here, that will even it out. And I don't want to even pretend that if you move low-income students into a more affluent school, somehow they're doing better. That's why it's tricky to talk about.
Yeah. So and then so any other K-12 Albemarle topics, like, as you know, we're about a week away, Katrina. So like, this is where you got to bring it home. So
no pressure.
Right. So November 7th, when they go to cast that ballot, what do you want those top 2-3 things to be in that voter's mind to say, this is what Katrina is going to fight for as soon as she gets in office?
Yeah. What I'm fighting for is all of our students, every single one of them, to have great outcomes. And I don't want to walk into K-Tech and see 90% minorities and think that that's okay. I want, and K-Tech's amazing. Vocational schools are great, but I'm just saying something is wrong with our system if we're channeling all of our minorities and low-income students, and they're not going to college, and they're not taking APs, and they're not being identified as gifted, and that's the focus. And
that's right.
And the reason, and I need to say, the reason is not just for those kids; it's for our whole community. I mean, 50% of the students entering into our urban ring elementary schools are low income. So if we don't worry about those students, we leave them behind, or we're not focused on them, what's going to happen to our community in 10 years?
That's right. So, so any other closing comments? Any issues going on right now? If not, just let the people know how to reach you for for further comments.
Yeah, so
I have more about you.
I have a website, KatrinaCallsen.com. I have a Facebook. I would love Facebook likes. It's kind of dinky how many I have right now. I've got like 120 friends and family.
Shameless plug.
But I would say the main thing, I have been working hard. I have knocked on thousands of doors. If you live in the Rio District, if you know someone who lives in the Rio District, you tell them to vote for me, because every vote counts.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mrs. Katrina Callsen. And as she said, KatrinaCallsen.com, as well as online. She's running for the Rio School District for our Albemarle County. And so, Katrina, thank you for joining us here on In My Humble Opinion.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.